What's up guys, it's LuckyBoy here, and today I'm going to present to you my set review of Silver Tempest that just got released, or we now have the whole set revealed for us here. This, I think it was Friday it came out, or was it Saturday? I can't remember. But I'm recording this on the Sunday, so yeah, so you guys have a video on Monday, so that's why I'm making it right now. Anyway, shout out to pokemons.dk, the best place to actually get pre-release stuff from, and yeah, also be sure to check out my Twitter and Twitch for streaming, uploads about anything, and just my thoughts on so much stuff, I guess. That's all I can pretty much say about it right now. Anyway, let's get into the set review and see what happens. So most of it is like expected, what most of us were kind of anticipating. Some of it actually was missing in this set, actually. I was kind of anticipating. Anyway, let's just jump right into what I actually think it's interesting to talk about. The Gyarados here, it's really interesting, like with the ability steering string of Shay. As long as this Pokemon is in play, the attacks of your opponent's Pokemon VMAX cost one colorless more, can apply one ability at a time. So pretty interesting ability for sure. Like, I think it, like as attack option, it could be really nice. Honestly, I'm definitely looking for as attack option myself, because messing up attack cost is actually pretty huge. Also, one thing to know is it's actually level ball searchable, so once rotation hits and we still have potentially like all the V-Stars dominating our meta, it could be worth it actually to pick up this. I'm definitely picking it up myself personally. Moving on, Superior V, I'm not gonna talk about it. Like, I don't think it's like necessary. I don't think it's like not necessary, but not good enough to actually be competitively viable, honestly. I'm just gonna go over them because I know people are a little bit high for. Superior V with 210 HP, 1 retreat, weak to fire, basic color, and the first attack Noble Light for colorless, heal 3 times for each Pokemon in play. Fine attack, but not gonna come up. And for Solar Beam Grass to colors, you do 120 damage, and yeah, that's not the greatest, but we have a V-Star for it, so it kind of has a rule on it, obviously. So, Superior V-Star, 270 HP, weak to fire, 0 retreat cost, which is actually pretty used, by the way. Just like Mew VMAX, but just on a V-Star version, so that's really nice. Grass colors, Royal Tornado, 190, move any number of energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon any way you like. So, it basically worded is as you can actually move, not just for this one, but just for any Pokemon in general. So it has an interesting mechanic with its attack, that's for sure. I actually like it, but as an option, I don't really see it honestly as viable. But it's an interesting attack for sure. It definitely can do some share heal shenanigans when you can just move the energy. When you just need 2 of them in play, you can move the energy from one to the other. By attacking into it, if you don't one-shot it, then you just shower heal it, when you manually retreat into the other one, and then you just repeat the process. So kind of see it as a like shower stall strategy. So a little interesting, honestly. And the V-Star powers Calling Star for grass energy, 6 damage, and you just it does 60 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon, and switch this Pokemon on your bench. So basically, you basically just build up one big Superior at one point, and just dealing a massive amount of damage, and you just switch to something else, like a Miltank, for example. But again, not to something I'm not gonna talk about. Among Us, it's a mean card, but I still wanna talk about it because it's actually it has a really interesting effect that we don't really see too often on Pokemon cards. Prank Spores, whenever this card is discarded from your hand by the effect of your opponent's Pokemon's attack or abilities, or by the effect of your opponent's items or supporter card, discard all cards from your opponent's hand. A really absurd effect, but a half-like cost. It forces your opponent to actually play cards with discard cards from your hand. I'm not too sure which card actually does it. I remember Mars back in the day with Pidgeotto control, but not really. I can't really come up in my head, on top of my head right now, that actually discard cards from your hand through these conditions. So not too sure, but definitely something to keep in mind. We have a Rain Pokemon. I'm not gonna pronounce the name. I'm actually bad at names, as you might notice. So ability Elegant Test Treatment. Once during your turn, you may heal off 200 damage for each of your Pokemon. Nice ability though to actually heal off some damage. It's like Radiant Gardevoir, but you can use it multiple times if you scoop up it, obviously, so you can technically actually heal more damage than Gardevoir can protect from V Pokemon, and also and because it's just heal, so it means any matchup is just really good for. The attack, Grass Colors, Perfume Shot, 9 damage, remove all special conditions from this Pokemon. Not the greatest attack, and the ability is kind of like, not the greatest in my opinion, but it's definitely a cool option to have, that's for sure. Move on to Rapidash, probably one of the interesting card. If Palkia for some reason doesn't go out of relevancy at one point, then this card's can actually be insane for Fire decks. Because right now Fire decks is just not good at all, because Palkia is too powerful and too hype, or not hype, but just really high played, I should say. Rapidash, the ability Heat Boost. Once you can take, you may discard fire energy from your hand. If you do, until the end of your turn, on attacks of your fire Pokemon, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So, pretty nice ability for sure. I really like it. Unfortunately, it's on the stage 1, so that's the unfortunate part. And Wardex is really supreme right now. So, yeah, that's the problem. Like, I've said Palkia before because, like, it's Palkia that's dominating right now. Moving on. Something interesting. Alolan Vulpix V. Interesting card, but nothing I will say too incredible, honestly. But it has some free attack, which is always like interesting to see. So for 0 energies, Snow White drop 10 plus damage. If your opponent's active opponent's V, you do 50 more damage. That's okay. And for Watercolors Colors, you do 110 with Frost Smash. So interesting card, that's for sure. And when we have the VSTAR, pretty nice artwork on the card, I will admit that. It has the lowest HP of any single VSTAR in the game, which is a little bit skeptical about it, but it definitely has a really cool attack for sure. Like Watercolors Colors, Snow Mirage, 160. You do this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage onto this Pokemon from abilities. Really awesome attack actually, and an additional effect that comes with it. So it's basically Shred, but also gives yourself protection, which I really like about it. But your opponent can just play Path to the Peak and shut off abilities, and they can just attack it anyway, so it doesn't really matter here. So, but still an interesting attack for sure. And for 0 energies with the V-Star power, that's what I like about it. Silver Snow Star. 7 damage. This attack does 7 damage times the number of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. So you just do 7 damage times the amount of V's in play. If you're up against Mew VMAX, I can definitely see this attack being really relevant, honestly, because they usually only have V's in play, basically. Except for maybe our core, but if you're playing against the TT version of Mew, then you just do like you just do like a lot of damage. That's what I'm trying to say. For 0 energy, which I really like a little bit, but not too impressive in my opinion. Moving on. Anything interesting that I forgot to talk about? Not this. Oh, here's one. The Regieleki V. Interesting cards. Finally have free retreat after all this time, because as some of you may know, Regieleki is the fastest Pokemon in the entire Pokemon franchise right now in the video game. So finally has free retreat. It took for a while to get free retreat, that's for sure. Now the V, lightning or one lightning switch ball, 30 damage, which this Pokemon one of your bench Pokemon. Also note about this Regieleki V, it has 1 retreat cost, which doesn't make sense that the VMAX has free retreat. So they could just give this free retreat, it wouldn't matter at all in my opinion. So, and for the second attack, Lightning Colors, Lightning Wall, 100 damage during your opponent's next turn. This attack does during your opponent's this Pokemon takes 100 less damage from attacks. Okay, wall attack, but nah, I don't think it's like matters too much, because it's like it feels a little bit slow anyway, so I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the VMAX. The VMAX ability is just trolling on its own actually, because it doesn't affect itself. So it has the Transfer ability. The attacks of your basic lightning Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. The fact that it says basic Pokemon just says is trolling itself in my opinion. So Interesting ability. We have Vikavolt, which really gets benefit by this, but Vikavolt's gonna rotate pretty soon, so it's gonna only be a while for Vikavolt to be viable. So I don't really see it to be too relevant here, but it's still a nice thing to note actually. And max Thunderstrike, 220 damage to opponents next time this Pokemon can't attack. But it has retreat, so it's not too relevant with this downside. So, but it's an interesting thing to talk about, obviously. And we have Ray and Alcazar. Abilities: Spoonful of Pain. Once during a turn, you may move out to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon. Really nice ability, actually. I'm always been a big fan of these type of moving damage counter around type cards, and this one is pretty interesting because there's a lot of cool strategies. You can add this in a lot of cool strategies, so I really like this a lot. And the attack: Psychic Colors, Mind Ruler, 20 times. This attack does 20 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. First of all, you're never gonna use the attack anyway. It doesn't sound too great. It's mostly ability that shines with it, obviously, so that's all I can pretty much say about it. Pretty interesting. Now we also got the Change. The Change is actually probably one of the better cards in the set, actually, and definitely something to keep in mind, by the way, because this one is actually more interesting than Miltank, in my opinion. Ability: Selfish Lips. First of all, nice ability name. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from your opponent's Pokemon V's attack, your opponent doesn't take a prize card. That's actually a huge warning here, because that means any V Pokemon can potentially take 0 prizes in a given turn. You kind of force your opponent to actually have bosses almost all the time when you play something like this. I'm not sure which deck you could play this in, but it's definitely something that is really interesting to talk about. So I'm a big fan of the design of this, because it makes like the V's like not super overpowered again, because you force them to have boss every time. So I kind of like this as well, so it kind of maybe can slow the game down a little bit, but I'm not too sure. And the attack: side damage for Colors. This attack does 10 more damage for each damage count on your opponent's active Pokemon, so not too interesting of attack, but the ability is more the thing that shines with it, just like the Alakazam, but definitely interesting card. Watch out for this card, because even though with Shred you say you're ignoring the damage, it doesn't say you're not taking any you're not just negating the ability, so just keep that in mind. But we have the Unknown, which is like really funny to see, actually. I'm not gonna talk about the VMAX or the VSTAR. I mean, sorry, the VSTAR is kind of like not too interesting, but I really like the Unknown V. It's just funny to see. Confused Seal for Psychic Energy. Your opponent's exposed is now confused. That's fine. And for Colors. Victory is simple. If you have 1 prize card left when using this attack, you win. So it's straight up, you just win without taking your last prize card. So that's pretty funny. You can do this combo with Raihan, where you just accelerate an energy, and then you could just find double turbo energy, and you just win with only have 1 prize card remaining. So I really like this card a lot. It's actually pretty hilarious to see, honestly. I found this pretty hilarious, honestly. So yeah. The only thing I can note about the Unknown is, actually, I can just talk quick about it. Try power, flip 3 coins. Already sounds terrible. This attack does 70 damage for each times the number of hits, so not too great. The VSTAR power Colors Star Cypher, I think it's announced or pronounced. Until this Pokemon leaves play against an ability that has the effect, all of your opponent's Pokemon's weakness is now Psychic. The amount of weakness doesn't change, so that means your opponent's Pokemon will also have Psychic weakness plus the weakness they already had. So interesting ability, but again, you have to have it in the active to start with. Potent, and you have to use it as a VSTAR power. You need 2 turns to do this. Your opponent will get 2 turns with supporter as well. So not too interesting, not gonna lie. The V is kind of more funny, but I'm definitely picking up myself because it looks so funny, actually, because it's a funny card for sure. Quickly talking about the Curlier with 80 HP, because it's level ball searchable, because it has the ability to refine, or in short, trade. Once during a turn, you may discard a card from your deck, from your hand, then draw 2 cards. So basically, trades just in a different name. But it has 80 HP, and that's the reason by it, because we will lose Cinccino, that has, when it's level ball searchable, we will lose that to rotation, and then we only have life part left, but it has 100 HP, so can be level searchable, but this one can't, so that's really nice. Note, it has 2 retreat costs, not just one like the other one has, so just keep that in mind. Anything special I can really... can't remember which... Oh, which one was it now? There are some interesting cards in the set, but I have to remember which one it now is. Oh, this one is actually pretty interesting. I like this a little bit. The Monogrels with urgent entry. Once you can turn, if you drew this card from your deck at the beginning of your turn, if bench isn't full before you put it into your hand, you may put it onto your bench if you draw 3 cards. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because now we actually have a stage 2 that can instantly come out of nowhere through its own ability, but again, it's like the ones that you have to draw for your turn. So, not too great, but I just want to note that it's just funny that we have a stage 2 that can get instantly into play without even wasting a single turn on it. So I just found that hilarious to me. We have the Ray and Jirachi, probably one of the better ones, but it has one of the most insane abilities I've ever seen on a card. But it's easily countable, just want to mention that. Ability Pass a Wish. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand and shuffle your deck. Absurd ability, by the way. Search any 3 cards once you get KO'd, so you can just like set up for next turn, and when you draw for turn, you can just do anything with that. So that's pretty insane of an ability, but remember this. If Path to the Peak is in play, this ability will be shut off. So just keep that in mind. Also, it has to be through an attack, not an effect. Like for example, Greninja VSTAR, or not Greninja, Giratina VSTAR's Stark Requiem. That will not trigger. I think. I can't really remember. But something like Sableye that puts damage count on it will actually go through this. So just keep that in mind. But as attack is also pretty interesting for sure. Colors, Stellar Doom, flip 2 coins with both our heads. Your opponent's active is now knocked out. So I also like that attack as well. It can beat deck on its own. So pretty nice attack. Pretty nice Pokemon for sure. But it doesn't come close to Charizard and Greninja obviously. So, but really interesting card for sure. To still mention. Now I'm gonna go back to Dragonite later after I talked about this one. The Regidrago V, I thought these 2 cards was gonna be really insane, but turns out they take it a little bit too much to actually make work, obviously. Regidrago V, Heavenly Scream, discard top 3 cards of your deck and attach any, and you attach all energy discard in this way to this Pokemon. So nice attack, nice first attack, but not too many cards you're gonna see there. Unless you stack one of them Rangaroo, then I don't really see how much value you're getting out of this. And your second attack, Grass Call, Grass Fire, Dragon Laser, 130 distance attacks, 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So nice sniping attack, but again too costly in my opinion. Then we have the VSTAR, which is the reason why we're gonna talk about the Dragonite after, because it has the attack Grass Fire. Dragon Dream, choose the attacker from a dragon type Pokemon in your discard pile and use it as this attack. So first of all, it doesn't specify that you need the specific energies for it. You just need Grass Fire to copy the attack. And why exactly do you need Dragonite? It's because it has the Energy Hurricane attack for 180 damage. You search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So basically you can set 2 Regidrago up out of nowhere, which is really nice about this card for sure. The fact that you can copy any dragon attack from your discard pile, just remember all the ones we have right now. We have Giratina, we have Goodra, the VSTAR specifically. We also have the Duraludon VMAX, which can't go through any effects, so you can't even. So Miltank doesn't work against this. And we also have Garchomp V, Flygon V. We have so many options for this card, so I actually really like this a lot. And the ability Legacy Star, VSTAR power, once you can turn, you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck that you may choose up to 2 cards from your discard pile, read them and put it into your hand. So basically, you mill 7, which is first of all a lot of cards, and you take any 2 cards from your discard pile. It doesn't say any among the 7 cards you discard, it's just any 2 cards out of your discard pile. So basically just a dowsing machine, but you can take 2 cards and it's any of them. So that's really nice, basically. So I really like this, but it doesn't seem to be too relevant in Japan right now, but I can be wrong. Maybe it has different impact here. Who knows? We're gonna see what happens once we get it out. And now we come to the poster child of the set. So yeah, that's all I can say. LUGIA V with the wing raining attack for colors. Discard card from your hand if you do draw 3 cards. That's a nice attack. For 4-time colors, aerial drive 30. You may discard any stadium in play. So that's okay, I guess. That's pretty fine. Then we have the VSTAR, the poster child, as mentioned. So absurd card with an absurd VSTAR power and ability and all. VSTAR power and all that. 4-time colorless, storm drive, 220 damage. You may discard the stadium in play. If there's any stadium in play, obviously. But 220 damage is still pretty insane. And also 4 colorless energy. So pretty heavy. But there's a reason why. But it's actually perfectly fine because of that. Its ability, Assemble Star. So you may use this ability during your turn. Choose up to 2 colors Pokemon from your discard pile, except for a Pokemon with rule box. Put it onto your bench. Pokemon V and GX, etc. has rule box. So, and what you want to put down is the Archeops, which is a fossil. Which is a fossil Pokemon that you have to take 3 turns to put in play. But with the LUGIA V-Star, you can just put it into this 2 of them in the discard pile and put 2 of them in play. And because it has the ability Primal Turbo, once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards and attach it to one of your Pokemon and shuffle your deck. Absolutely absurd ability, attaching 2. You can attach 4 special energies to one Pokemon out of nowhere, which is, first of all, pretty absurd what you can do that. And remember, we have a lot of really strong special energies right now. A lot of them are gonna rotate, but remember this, you can accelerate so many energies out of nowhere, it's ridiculous. And you take a lot of things into a LUGIA V-Star deck, so pretty insane combo there. We have the Ho-V with the Rebirth Flames. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard, you may put this onto your bench. If you do, attach up to 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile to this Pokemon. If you do use this ability, your turn ends. So pretty weird, pretty unfortunate that it ends your turn, but of course there's a reason why. It's a really insane ability, first of all. The other thing I see, I don't want to talk about the attack because I don't want to see I don't see that to be a thing. I more see this to be used in a Darkrai V-Star deck, because getting 4 energies with Darkrai V-Star on turn 1 after milling a lot of cards, I don't know, it's pretty insane actually. So I'm actually a big fan of this in Darkrai V-Star, honestly. So pretty nutty card for sure. And yeah, that's all for the Pokemon apparently. Now, Brandon is a nice supporter card. You may play this card only when it's the last card in your hand. Draw a card for each bench Pokemon and play, both yours and your opponent's. So you can simply draw 10 cards from a 0 card hand, but again, you have to empty your hand, which is a little bit hard to do sometimes, but should not be too hard when you get Roxanne to 2 cards and then draw for turn. You only have 3 cards to work with, so still okay, I guess. Candace, this is really interesting if we did not have Irida, or would have been really insane, obviously. Look at top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of water Pokemon and water energy cards you find there, and put them into your hand. So pretty insane ability, pretty insane supporter card. But we have Irida, which guaranteed the cards basically. So it has to compete with Irida, but it can definitely see more cards in Irida potentially. But again, you have to, but you're taking a chance on it, which is like a little bit unfortunate. Capture Aroma, I thought this card was insane, but I was wrong. Flavorcorn, if head, search your deck for a Revolution Pokemon, reveal and put it into your hand. If tail, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, reveal and put it into your hand. If you search your deck in this way, you shuffle your deck. Nicer cards, like no matter what, you get something, and it's gonna replace itself, but unfortunately, it's not like too relevant, obviously. Like, if you're searching for an evolution, you have to go for heads and vice versa. So, I thought it was insane, but no, I was wrong. Well, we have the Earth and Seal Stone. So, this is 2 cards that gives your Pokemon VSTAR powers, by the way. So, and you can only but you can attach them to any Pokemon, but only Pokemon V can use these VSTAR powers, just to mention that. So the Seal Stone, colors, start gravity, put damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon V until they each have 100 HP remaining. So pretty insane effect to say the least. Note that also just want to say I'm not 100% sure if this is official, but there's a ruling there where the Galarian Moltres, the Galarian Zapdos V and Drapion V, where they have the ability that they're losing a colorless attack for each specific Pokemon your opponent has in play. It also counts towards this, apparently. I'm not sure if this is official ruling, but it's something to be mindful of if it actually is true, but that's actually happening. I'm skipping the bad cards I don't want to talk about. For Seal Stone, again, just like the Earthen Seal Stone, but this one is actually a little bit more better in my opinion. So it has the Star Alchemy ability. During a turn, you may search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. And basically, what this is ruled about is it doesn't get affected by Path to the Peak. So in Mew, you have this in your deck, attach it to basically a Genesis deck, and search a Path to the Peak out. Then you can just like draw a million cards after that. Or you can play it like so many other decks that doesn't have a V-Star power. So pretty absurd ability, to be honest. So, but you never know. I'm not sure how much these will be played, but they're definitely interesting and have an interesting ruling. So be up to date with the rulings about these. So we are 100% sure what exactly interactions they have with certain cards, obviously. We have Land, search your deck for up to 3 Dragon type Pokemon and put it into your hand. Nice card for the Dragon deck, but not so sure if it's like worth it or not. But you never know. We have the Leafy Shampoo Hunchu. I think it's pronounced. I pronounce it pretty bad, I guess. So, anyways, the 2 card that says if the Pokemon this card is attached to is a Pokemon V-Star or V-Max, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to that Pokemon. So basically, they can't boss disorder the Pokemon this card is attached to, or I think Avery works the same. I'm not 100% sure. But pretty nice cards actually prevent boss disorder. So if you're losing because of V-Star, it's gonna get KO'd, or V-Max, you can just like attach this to it and then just force your opponent to actually take a 1 prize or 2 prize. Depend on the Pokemon that's attached to. So I like this card's design, but not sure how much they will see play, but it's definitely an interesting one for sure. Primordial Altar, I think it's pronounced, I'm not sure. Again, I'm bad at names. Once doing each player, so that player may look at the top card of their deck, they may discard that card. Interesting effect, but again, I think Pokestop might be better, but I don't like Pokestop in general, so I like this less, honestly. So or maybe a little bit more, because it doesn't like blind mill your deck and you don't have to discard the card. So I kind of like this a little bit more than Pokestop, because I personally not a fan of blindly milling cards personally. So that's why I'm not also playing Rose Tower in Mew instead of Pokestop. I never liked Pokestop personally. Serena, I thought this card was absurdly busted, more busted than boss, but I forgot it was limited to something. So but let's talk about it anyway. This card, choose one of the 2. So you can only use one of them when you use it. This card out to 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1, then draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. Basically a beat barrel. But you can actually discard some cards when you have that you actually want off. And I actually like this effect a lot. And the other effect is switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon V with their active Pokemon. So basically a boss, but only for V Pokemon. Which is the reason why I thought this card was actually pretty insane. I thought it was like just boss any Pokemon, and you also have like consistency like we had back in the day with N. But this clock, I changed my mind after that. So, but I'm not sure about it. But it's definitely an interesting card that I'm gonna experiment in some decks, obviously. So pretty like it a little bit. Warcard, I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about. Like, draw 3 cards, this card is staying in play, so I like this a little bit, honestly, because this card is staying. So basically, Mew, you can technically play this in Mew, actually. This card, Path to the Peak, and draw 3 cards is actually not bad. So I like this card a little bit in Mew, honestly. We have the special energies. Regenerated energy, I think. Whenever you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve the Pokemon V, this card is attached to heal 100 damage for that Pokemon. Nice effects, but not sure energy attachment is worth that cost, so but still something to keep in mind, that's the thing. Then we have the V-Guard energy, which is gonna have a big impact on the meta, by the way. Provide colorless energy. This Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from the attacks of your opponent's Pokemon V, but you can only apply one effect of V-Guard energy more. You can't apply this effect of V-Guard energy more than once on a Pokemon. So it's gonna fix a lot of math for so many decks actually, and that's what I really like about this card. It's gonna be really insane for sure. And yeah, that's gonna be. And then we also have some full art and trainer galleries down here, so we can actually just watch these together. Some nice golds, Cigarette, Lugia, obviously. Anyway, that's gonna be it for my set review, how I feel about certain things and all that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel already, turn my bell on, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.